move, sir. Stop! Stop! Down! Back! 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 On the ground! On your stomach! On your stomach! Arms out!
The dynamics of most physical encounters are unique and highly stressful. If officers are given too complex of a subject control technique or too small of a target, they've been given a recipe for failure. Baton techniques must be kept simple and easy to remember in order to be effective. The main purpose of the baton is to stun and/or temporarily disable rather than to cause lasting injury. The higher an officer's stress level, the less capable they are of performing complex subject control techniques. Therefore, baton techniques must be kept simple, forgiving, and easy to perform. The baton is drawn with the weapon hand or drawn with the reaction hand and transferred to the weapon hand. The type of scabbard that an officer carries will make a difference as to whether or not the officer must draw straight up from the scabbard or press the baton against the back wall of a side break scabbard and draw straight up. Either way, the baton is held in the center of the grip with approximately the same amount of the handle extending out from either side of the hand. The baton is held with a full hand grip. Collapsible baton shafts are released as centrifugal force overcomes retention clip tension. This causes the shafts to extend with sufficient force as to create a friction lock in the joints of the baton. Opening to the sky provides maximum visibility. This method of opening also requires a swing be stopped and reversed to execute a strike. Opening to the ground allows the officer to continue the opening swing into an immediate strike. This method of opening provides minimal visibility. In the interview stance, the officer's feet are approximately shoulder width apart, with the officer's weight evenly distributed between the feet. The reaction leg is slightly forward and the weapon leg is slightly to the rear. The knees are slightly bent. The officer's reaction hand is kept above the waist, and a closed baton can be held in the weapon hand between the waist and the shoulders. Once open, the baton is moved to the combat position. The combat stance is designed to maximize the availability of the baton while placing the officer in a good tactical position. The stance itself sends a strong message to the subject that the officer is ready for possible aggression. In the combat stance, the officer's feet are slightly wider, the stance is slightly deeper, and the knees are slightly more bent than in the interview stance. The officer's reaction hand is up to protect the head and face, with the elbow bent to protect the upper torso. The baton itself rests on top of the officer's shoulder at approximately jaw level, with the cap facing the subject. All techniques are designed to deliver one or more strikes to the center mass of the presented threat. Center mass of the arm, center mass of the leg, and center mass of the body. Closed mode strikes are close contact techniques designed to provide safe separation from an assaultive subject. In the closed mode weapon strike, the baton is held in a full hand grip with the thumb placed across the tip of the baton. This prevents the baton from opening during the strike. The closed mode weapon strike can originate either from the interview stance or the combat stance. The strike is directed toward the center mass of the subject's body at a 45-degree angle, with the cap of the baton being the primary striking surface area. The primary purpose of the closed mode reaction strike is to bring the baton quickly back toward the weapon's side. The strike is executed at a 45-degree angle toward the center mass of the subject's body, with the cap being the primary striking surface area. In the closed mode straight strike, the strike is delivered from the weapon's side with the baton in a vertical position, tip up. The primary striking surface area is the fist, and the strike is delivered toward the center mass of the subject's body. We'll now demonstrate the closed mode strikes in close to real time using verbal commands. Back! 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 Open mode strikes are long-range techniques which provide additional safe separation for the officer. They can also increase the officer's ability to disengage if needed. The open mode weapon strike is the most powerful and most commonly used strike. It can give the officer the ability to regain control and can be done from any tactical position. The officer should use a full hand grip to maintain control and possession of the baton. The open mode weapon strike is delivered at a 45-degree angle toward the center mass of the subject's delivery system. using the last 3 inches of the baton as the primary striking surface. The officer should allow the baton to dwell momentarily on impact to allow for the full benefit of fluid shock. The officer should then recover to the combat stance. The open mode reaction strike is less powerful than the weapon strike. It should be executed rapidly as a means of returning the baton to the weapon side. The strike is a forgiving technique and performs a clearance, moving the subject away from the officer. The open mode straight strike is a close-range technique used to create distance when in close contact with a subject. It can also be used when a subject closes the distance despite warnings or other strikes. The baton is lowered from the combat stance. The officer's reaction hand grasps the end of the shaft of the baton. The baton is then thrust downward at a 45-degree angle toward the center mass of the subject's body. The primary striking surface is the middle shaft of the baton. We'll now demonstrate the open mode strikes in close to real time using verbal commands. Back! 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 The rapid response strike can be delivered during a sudden assault when there is little time or warning. Swinging the baton at a 45-degree angle with a full extension of the arm allows the baton to open while en route to its target. We'll now demonstrate the rapid response strike in close to real time using verbal commands. Back! Baton strikes can be used in any order, repeated, or combined with other strikes as the encounter requires. Each strike should be performed with full power while evaluating the effect on the subject. Strike should stop as soon as control is restored.